back from the Jet game on the road, and we're ready for week 3. How are
How you
you?
doing? Oh, Nashville, Tennessee, my man. What a town. If you guys haven't been, you must go. If you like music, if you like partying, if you like looking at bachelorette parties, it's unbelievable. Absolutely incredible.
You must have had quite a time. I tried to get you to do a podcast on Sunday or Monday night, and you were done.
I was wrecked. You know what it is? Similar to Vegas, I found out. You don't need the third night. It's a 2-night town, you know?
Wait, you went on Thursday night?
We went Friday morning. So we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I came back Monday morning.
Oh, you stayed over Sunday?
I stayed over. I didn't get out of there right after the game. Went back to the hotel. Sun came out, laid by the pool, had some drinks, took a nap on the lounge chair, had a nice dinner.
That's not all bad.
No, but we drank at dinner. I drank during the day at the pool and drank at the game. And,
That was really funny on the text string when you said my legs are killing me.
Oh,
and I was like, what, from walking? And Gerard, what did he write? From jumping, screaming, dancing,
partying. Music, whatever it was, because we toured Vanderbilt University. So we walked the campus and we walked. There are a lot of different parts of town that are very cool, that are different from off Broadway. So we did a lot of walking. We did some shopping. We did a lot of great eating. Restaurants were great. It was just a fabulous weekend. I got to tell you, and the city is so clean, so different than New Orleans. It's like you have this music vibe. There's music at every bar. Everyone's so talented. I mean, and you pay them $20 for a song request, and they can all play such a high level. I don't even know how they even know all these songs, but they do. It's amazing. Yeah. It's really incredible.
Great. Glad you had fun. We went 2-3. Thankfully, the Jets were one of our covers. But,
yeah, that was good.
Lost another one by a half point. That's 2 games.
Yep.
We would basically be 6 out of 10 for the season. Instead, we're 4 out of 10.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? It's so close. These half points.
The half point. Which game was it? Was it?
That was the Texans game.
The Texans. Yeah.
Yep.
And it hurt, but considering the bloodbath that happened in Survivor, and that we took Houston on this,
we got through on Texans.
Yeah, $1.5 million pull at DraftKings. I had Houston, so I was so happy to just win that game.
We're live in our Survivor pool at DraftKings. There must be a lot of bloodshed there.
Oh yeah. Well, we're out. You and I are out of that one.
We are.
Yes.
What happened?
We had Houston.
Yeah, they survived. We're in
week 1.
We survived week 1. We didn't have Cincy.
I'll talk to you about it later because I had to basically share a team with Berger. Oh,
well, you and I are in that Survivor pool together, and we're both still alive.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into this week's card. I'm excited about a lot of these games. And we'll do a little recap as we're going through these, but let's kick it off with tomorrow night's New England Jets matchup. Jets are laying 6.5, which, I mean, the minute this line came out, I couldn't believe that it was this high, especially considering the history. And I know, you know how much I love the recency bias. So throw out all those Patriot wins that Tom Brady was there for, but still, Patriots are good. I mean, they have played 2 solid games. They didn't win last week, but that was partially because, or mainly because of the game that Geno Smith had. I mean, you didn't see it. He played unbelievable.
Yeah, I saw Smith and Jigba had 12 catches, huge game. We talked about him, and Metcalf had a touchdown, and they took him to overtime. So the Patriots are playing very well.
They beat the Bengals in week 1. I'm just shocked at this line. I like the Patriots. What do you think?
I like New England also. I think it's too many points. The Jets are playing their 3rd game in 11 days. They had a really hard schedule, I think, from the league. I think it's really kind of unfair. Basically 2 road games and two night games in your first 3 within an 11-day span. I know they lost a couple key players on defense, and I know New England lost their best linebacker too, but New England can run the ball with Ramonde. And I think it's just going to be close, low scoring. I like New England in the under.
All right. We're both on it. I like it. Kicking it off with an agreement. Next is going to be Bears Colts. The Bears are getting 1.5. Man, what a mystery the Colts have been. They're kind of miserable. They're desperate for a win.
It's a weird game for me because I was so disappointed in Anthony Richardson last week, and I thought the Colts, going against Malik Willis. But you got to give LaFleur a lot of credit, man. They ran the ball, I think, almost 70% of the time. They protected Malik Willis. He threw for like 100 yards. He didn't really have to do much, but their defense, the Green Bay's, just dominated the Colts, and the Colts can't stop the run. So that's an issue. I don't think the Bears run it all that well. And I thought Caleb looked a little bit better. I mean, obviously the Texans defense, I think, is a step above, what they'll play this week with the Colts. So it's an interesting game. If I had to do it, I think Indy will win the game. I think if you put the Bears in a teaser and you get them up to 7.5, I like that too. So I would do either one of those, maybe both. But I think Indy wins the game by less than 7.
Indy in week 1, refresh my memory. What did they do?
They lost to the Texans at home.
Oh, right. I don't know. I think they get a win here. I think they're going to get right. I don't think it's going to be like a blowout, but I think they have to go back to who they really are. I mean, they haven't been running the ball, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Taylor got benched. Did you see that?
Yeah. I mean, that game last week. I didn't see a lot of football because I was at the Jets-Titans game, but just catching up on highlights and looking at stats, they didn't do anything on offense against Green Bay at all.
Yeah, they were horrible.
Yeah.
I think they had some turnovers too. So I don't know. I like the Colts in this game enough to say, I'm not going to pass. I don't know how you feel about it, but if you're passing, then
listen. What's the line? 1.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me is the Bears defense, I think, is significantly better than Indy's, and they have a way of even special teams. They seem to make plays every week. So it's a little weird, a struggling offense like the Colts against a pretty solid unit that the Bears have. I want to think that Indy would bounce back. 1.5 seems like a real small line to me. I'm not sure why Vegas is doing that, especially with the Bears again on the road off a Monday night.
I think it's because the Bears, they played well enough in the Houston game. I mean, they had chances to win that game.
They did.
And Houston beat the Colts. So I agree with this. There's not that much of a home field advantage here. It's going to be a close game. I mean, I would probably pass. There's probably much better games to bet.
I'll take the Colts if you want to take it. I think they win the game. I just don't know if they'll win by more than 7, but they're only laying 1.5. So I do think, me, I like to bet against teams, that are on the road for the second straight week, especially coming off a night game, even though that was Sunday night, not Monday, right? That was Sunday night. So they're on even rest.
Yeah.
I can't, and it's not really a long trip to Indy from Chicago, right? It's quite close.
Very close. It's
yeah.
Bus ride.
It's a skip, or if we have no other picks, I would roll the dice with the Colts and hope they win by 3.
Okay. Let's move on to Browns Giants. We got our first win last week. Go Cleveland.
It's going to be a big survivor pick this week. The Browns, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. You wouldn't believe what happened late. I don't know if you saw any highlights, but you wouldn't believe what happened to us late in that game.
No. Did the Jaguars have a chance?
Oh yeah. We tried to give them the game.
Oh my God.
We were running. We were trying to run the clock out with around 2 minutes. Let's say on the other side of the 2-minute warning. Maybe we were inside of 2 minutes. Dante Foreman had like a 35-yard run that was basically going to put us like down near the goal line.
Holding.
They called offensive face masking.
For him face masking someone
during his stiff arm.
It's a very rare call.
Very rare.
Oh my God.
So we get 15 yards. Now it's 1st and 25.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
It's 1st and 25. Next play, offensive holding. 1st and 35. Next play, offensive holding again. 1st and 45.
Oh my God.
We run the ball a few times, and then it's basically this was the game. It was 3rd and goal, basically, or third and let's call it we weren't going to make it 3rd and 18, minute 30. Jacksonville didn't have any timeouts. Deshaun Watson rolls out to his left He's a right-handed quarterback.
Yep.
He rolled out to his left and threw an incomplete pass.
Idiot.
Well, why are we throwing there? They don't have any timeouts.
Stefanski.
And why is he rolling out? He rolled out to the wrong side. He's right-handed. He gets crushed. I actually thought, like, to just ice the cake of this shit show, that he was going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And he slowly gets up, but it was an incomplete pass. The clock stopped.
Unbelievable.
So Jack,
no roughing the passer?
Huh?
No roughing the passer?
No, just got hit so
Killed,
hard,
crushed.
by a linebacker.
Wow. So what'd you punt?
Gets the ball, they start driving, and we had to have, like, basically a guy from Jacksonville dropped a touchdown to win the game. Like, not even a Hail Mary. They were on the plus side of the field.
You're kidding.
He threw a pass to a guy who dropped it in the rain, and we won the game.
Unbelievable.
18-13.
Oh my God, it's so ugly.
Our defense played amazing.
Yeah, I had your defense in fantasy. They bounced back nicely for me, got me like 13 or 14 points. So that was good.
This was like one of several games, including Detroit, that comes to mind, where we just got outgained. And on offense, like, Jacksonville was up and down the field. They just could not score.
Couldn't score. Yeah.
Couldn't score. And so,
with the Giants, I last week, what I saw was obviously Neighbors. I heard dropped the a key touchdown at the end that cost him the game, but he had a great game, and they had no kicker. So Dable kept going for 2 and not getting it, and Washington were moving up and down the field all day and couldn't score and had 7 field goals. It was the first time in NFL history that a team had scored 3 touchdowns and not let up a touchdown and lost. Wow. Unbelievable. Wow. Something about this game, though, I'll tell you. I mean, a lot of people are going to like Cleveland, obviously, at home. The Giants are a bit of a mess. Obviously, they have not been great. But Dable, his record is 7-2-1 against the spread versus the AFC. Problem is, the Giants are they're like 1-8 straight up versus the Browns. And their last 9 on the road, especially, they don't play well straight up. So this is one where I think it's going to be interesting, right? Because the line is 7.5 or 6.5.
It's 6.5. It went to 6.5 today. It was 6 for the past few days. It's in the contest. It's 6.5.
I mean, the whole country is going to be on Cleveland to win, so it's an interesting thing.
The people who are still alive in Survivor, including us, I think, are mainly going to be on Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati's going to be a big pick. Obviously, also whoever's playing Carolina will be a big pick. I would think Vegas.
Oh, Las Vegas, right?
Vegas will be on a big pick also. But this is the third one. I just think, listen,
this to me, like, I bet the under right when this one came out, 38.5. Our offense really struggled. We had an opening drive that scored a touchdown. We didn't get into the end zone the rest of the day. The offense didn't look good. Deshaun didn't look good. And our defense is great. And I can't imagine the Giants scoring.
The Giants are averaging 12 points a game. That's 31st in the NFL. They're not playing well on offense, so I like the under.
This is a game in the teens, or lower, single digits. So I like the under, but in this game, I wouldn't lay 6.5 with Cleveland, and I definitely wouldn't take Giants.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of agree with that. I mean, if you like Cleveland to win, I guess just throw them in a teaser and pair them with someone you like.
Yep. Okay, so we both pass there. Packers Titans. Will Levis did it again.
He sure did, and they let up another block punt. Second time in 2 games,
and another shuffle pass that backfired and got picked.
Yeah, but this one was backwards.
Yeah.
And the coach was like, literally, what the F are you doing?
Yeah. I already know I'm passing on this game. It's, I was impressed. If you look at the picks last week, I liked the Packers. I couldn't get you to join me on that one. But
no, not with Malik Willis. And you're not going to get me this week either. I think Tennessee could possibly easily be 2-0. I think their defense has been really good, holding offenses for the most part. I know Aaron Rodgers threw some laser beam throws, which were really impressive. But he's getting rid of the ball so quickly that they couldn't really get to him. But I like Tennessee in this game. They have a good history against Green Bay. They've won 5 of the last 7 when they've played them. And I also like the over in this game. They have a history, these teams, of playing shootout type games. And I think Green Bay got through one, lucky one at home with Willis. And I know that the Titans drafted Willis, so this may be a little bit of a revenge game, but he's not good. They did the right thing getting rid of him. And I would be really shocked if LaFleur was able to coach up a win in this spot on the road. Tennessee is desperate for a win. They have not played like an 0-2 team to me. They made 2 critical mistakes that cost them the games. I like Tennessee. It's a small line, and I would take the over because I think there's going to be. I think there's going to be some points.
Okay, I'm passing. I don't disagree with anything you said, but I cannot put my money on those guys after what I've seen, and I'm going to be interested in see how this one plays out. Eagles Saints.
Wow. Why is the line so low?
2.5.
Yeah, I mean, aren't the Saints the best team in football? Haven't they scored on 70% of their drives? Isn't Derek Carr the best quarterback in the game? And the Eagles are letting up 400 points a game. I would have thought the Saints should be -7.5. Why is it 2.5?
Because, and I don't know what the answer. I'm pretty sure the look ahead in this game was probably Eagles -3 or something to that effect. Maybe even 3.5.
Yeah, this smells
adjustment that it has to be made on the Saints. They basically have jumped, let's just call it up 15 spots, 18 spots from their preseason ranking based on those 2 games. And so it's sort of like, are they for real?
Well, one game was Carolina, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. And they kind of picked Dallas off after, Dallas had such a big opening game at Cleveland. They probably went out and partied all week in Dallas, went to every strip club they possibly could. And they weren't ready to play on defense. I mean, their defense didn't show up against the Saints at all. So this is weird to me.
There's no excuse.
Yeah, I know. It's the NFL. This line stinks to me. Absolutely stinks. I like Philadelphia. And I don't like teams coming off a Monday night game, especially on the road. This one doesn't make sense to me.
I agree with you on liking Philly, but I will not bet on them after what I saw on Monday night.
I thought they were okay Monday night. I thought that if Saquon catches that ball, the game's over.
Yeah, but their defense has looked terrible in
2
games,
awful.
And they're playing against these guys who fucking score every time they touch the ball. And you want to bet on Philly?
I don't necessarily want to bet on Philly. I'm scared. I'd be scared to bet on Philly because I hate these road teams on a short week. I don't like it. Yeah. But the Vegas is, I don't know if they're trapping people with this line and making people question it. I don't understand how the Saints are not giving a lot more points in this game. And that would make me really nervous as a Saints backer here. So, and let's face it, Derek Carr is due to come back to earth.
No doubt. But I would, if anything in this game, and I'm not passing, I would take the Saints. I would ride the wave just because they're
just lay the 2.5 and go with them.
I'm not that impressed with Philly, especially the way they lost. And
AJ Brown playing, or he's out another week, right?
No.
Wow. So strange to me. I just don't get it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to take the Saints. I know my mind says take them, and it's so obvious to take them, but that's why I won't.
Okay. Chargers Steelers. Now, go ahead. This
is my team. Listen, Herbert's had a bad ankle. He didn't practice today. He's going to play. I mean, if that Easton Stick guy plays, I don't even think it matters. I think we don't play well against San Diego at home. They've won 3 of the last 4. When we go there, we win. When they come to us, they win. It's always low scoring. It's always weird. They get weird guys that you've never heard of that score against us, and we end up losing. It's our home opener. I know. What is the line now? 2.5, 1.5?
1.5. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's money going on San Diego, and rightly so. I could see putting them in a teaser and taking it to 7.5 in a Wong. I think you're okay doing that. The way the Chargers are running the ball and controlling the clock and playing defense, it's not like our offense is lighting it up. We've scored 1 touchdown in 2 weeks. So, and we struggle with them historically at home. So I'm not going to say take the Chargers, but I wouldn't be shocked if they beat us.
Yeah, I like the Chargers also. I think this is kind of like this is a big step up in class for you guys after after who you've been playing so far, right? Like,
which is weird to say because the Chargers sucked last year. They were horrible. I think obviously the new head coach and the new philosophy of the offensive coordinator, they're running the ball 65 to 70% of the time with Dobbins, and they have a great offensive line.
I hear you, but what I think where I'm coming from on this game is that, in week 1, you played an Atlanta team like where Cousins really wasn't ready. He was totally like deer in headlights, and he got his feet under him this week. And in week 2, you had Denver, who's bad, and you have a rookie QB who's also like not ready to play.
Yeah, they threw an interception in the end zone.
Like you're playing a very motivated team who's 2-0 with a new coach, and they have, and Herbert's he's not new.
He's on a bad ankle. They don't throw the ball a lot anyway, so I mean, they're not going to let him sit back there. If anything, they're gonna run the ball, and they're gonna play defense. They're gonna play action with him sometimes, and those are the times where TJ Watt's gonna have to get to him. The thing is, it is our home opener. The Steelers were picked last by pretty much everyone in our division, and meanwhile, the teams that were supposed to win our division are both 0-2, and everyone's still saying the Steelers aren't good. So they may have a chip on their shoulder there, like being underappreciated, and I could see that. And you get a hobbled quarterback against TJ Watt and Highsmith coming at him, they can make mistakes. And if Herbert has to throw the ball, God forbid Fields has a game where Pickens, can score some touchdowns and we have a big lead, and then the Chargers have to get away from the running, and then Herbert's back there. That's the danger spot for the Chargers, in my opinion. Yeah. Is if the Steelers their offense finally achieves something and actually takes a lead in the game, 2-score, 3-score lead, Chargers are in trouble because they're a running team.
Yep. Okay, so you're passing. I mean, you would never.
I'm passing. I won't pick against my own team. I'm going to root like hell for us to go 3-0, of course. But I've been there before against the Chargers. They find ways to beat us in very strange ways in our building. So, I'm going in there with no expectations.
Okay. Texans, Vikings. Texans are laying 2.5 on the road.
One of my favorite games of the week.
You like Minnesota?
Love.
Really?
Absolutely love Minnesota. I think they have the best defense in football. I think they historically, I don't like the Texans laying points on the road. They're not very good historically doing that. They're 2-8-2 against the spread on the road as favorites. They're 5-12-1 against the spread versus the NFC. And the Vikings are 6-1-1 against the spread off a win. I like the coach. I like Darnold. I know Jefferson's a little banged up, but looks like he's going to play. I think he's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. And Minnesota has owned this matchup. They're 5-0 straight up and against the spread against Houston. Houston has never beaten them in the last number of years. So this is a tough spot for Houston. I like Minnesota a lot to win the game.
Yeah, so Jefferson practiced and limited today. Jordan Addison also didn't practice. He's got an ankle.
Yeah.
And Aaron Jones was limited. I don't know.
Yeah, they have Ty Chandler though. Ty Chandler's a nice backup. I picked him up in fantasy. He's fine. He could easily fill in for that role. But again, I think matchups matter. I think that certain teams just have certain teams' numbers, and Minnesota, I think, has proven that they're a very tough team this year, especially defensively. Yeah, and Darnold's been good.
I'm with you. Okay, we both agree. It's our third game we agree on.
Second, I think. Oh no, yeah, right.
Well, Colts. We'll come back to the Colts.
Right.
Hopefully, we don't have to use that, and we'll like feel strongly about.
Yeah, I really like Minnesota in this spot. I think this is one, a really tough trip for Houston.
Denver, Tampa, 6.5. I wish I hadn't used. I mean, I like Tampa. You didn't see the game, but man, Baker and the way that they played,
Evans didn't get in. This was a Godwin game.
Yeah, and their defense was just unbelievable. I mean, you can blame the Detroit offense for not scoring, or you can give credit to the Tampa defense.
Jesus, man, they were missing.
They wouldn't let them in the end zone.
They were missing 4 or 5 guys in their secondary. We loved the Lions last week, you and I. That was a big shock to me that Detroit didn't win that game and cover. I was stunned. That you got to give Tampa credit and the coach. Yeah. But I think that comes to an end. I think Denver has been playing and historically plays Tampa Bay. We probably didn't know this, pretty tough. So I think it's a low scoring game. Denver's 4-1 straight up in their last 5 against Tampa. It's actually the real line is now 7.5. So if you can get that at a real book, I would take Denver with the 7.5. I don't know if I would take it at 6.5, but this seems like a game that could be another Survivor, upset special. I don't know.
Well, what have you seen out of Denver that makes you think they can be competitive in this game?
Well, they were competitive at home against us. They just threw an interception in the end zone. So, I mean, it made it a little bit more. Their defense has been pretty stout. They haven't gotten run over. They did the second half against Seattle, but that's to be expected against Seattle at home, especially. So I don't know. I think the matchup here is tough. I think it's a low scoring game, which will benefit them. I know Tampa's been really good at home. They've won like 5 out of 6, I think, straight up at home, but it's just a lot of wood to chop. And I think they can hang around in this game and it'll be a low scoring game. And, to me, that's always dangerous. I don't see them getting lit up.
Okay.
Surtain Jr. is going to lock up somebody. I know Pickens handled them pretty well in that game, which was, and actually he got 3 pass interference calls on Surtain, which is, I don't even know if he had 3 all last year. So Pickens really ate him alive, but he's going to either be on Evans or Godwin, and that's going to make things a little bit harder for Baker. Yeah. So, this is a tough. I think this is one of those games where Tampa at home, coming in as hot as they are, they just beat Detroit on the road. I think they're feeling themselves a little too much here. It's an AFC team. They're ripe to get picked off here. This is a scary spot.
I could see a little bit of a letdown, but now, even though now you tell me that the market is 7.5 and we can lay 6.5, I would still do Tampa. I'm not impressed with Denver, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the worst team in the league, Carolina.
Andy Dalton.
Bryce Young has been benched. And now it's going to be Andy Dalton. And the Raiders obviously looked great last week. They upset Baltimore. It's a weird line, 5.5.
It is.
But I would bet against Carolina every week.
Me too.
It's not just a quarterback problem. It's they have problems across the offense, across coaching, across the defensive line, right? Like, what's good about this team?
Except right now,
need a change.
Right now, not much, but they had a quarterback that was literally statistically the worst quarterback in the league, and now you got a veteran. So maybe a veteran knows how to get the ball to Deontay Johnson. Maybe he can throw the ball to Thielen. Maybe they get, a little bit more of a passing attack, so then that loosens up the run for Hubbard and Sanders. I don't know. Listen, this is I would have thought that they would have been, a little bit of a larger favorite in this game.
Yes.
No?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. 5.5 is so bizarre.
Strange. It's kind of fishy. I know a lot of people in Survivor are going to be on Vegas. It's Gardner Minshew, and you will literally, people, and rightly so, should potentially punch themselves in the face if they get eliminated from Survivor with Gardner fucking Minshew as your quarterback. That's all I'm going to say. That would be a disgrace.
Well, think about what happened last week where the whole country bet against him.
Correct.
And he shoved it up their ass.
That was incredible. I told you last week I throw the ball to Devontae Adams, and that's what he did.
Well, Cello, nothing's changed. He still has him this week.
Yeah, I get it. Listen, I would take Vegas. I'm not saying that. I would take Vegas. I think Carolina is not a good team.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why the line is so low, but I don't get paid to make that, to make the numbers.
So you would take, I like the Raiders. Do you?
I'll take the Raiders here.
Okay. 5.5. Andy Dalton. I mean, come on.
Hasn't played in a while.
Seattle. Tua's out. The backup is Austin Stick. Hold on. No.
Skylar Thompson.
Right.
He almost beat Buffalo in that playoff game last year.
Yes. Let me just confirm that. Yeah. Skylar Thompson. This is a possible Survivor pick also. What do you think here?
I like Miami with the points. I think that they're on 10 days rest. I think Thompson is capable. They can run the ball. Their defense, I know, is maligned, but I don't really love Seattle in this type of spot, especially against Miami. Miami is 3-0 against the spread against Seattle in their last 3 games, and Seattle is a home favorite against the spread is only 5-11-1.
Yeah,
I don't have confidence in laying the points necessarily in this spot. Miami, I think, is good here. I think there's going to be points scored. Geno played well last week. Geno Smith
great.
played very, very well. I mean, Kenneth Walker's hurt. Charbonnet is their backup running back. He's fine. He's not as good as Walker, but he's fine. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. You still have Tyreek Hill. You still have Waddle. You still have Achane. And Thompson's not a rookie. He's taken this team into Buffalo last year in a playoff game and almost won it. So I'm taking the points. Is it 7?
It's 4.5.
Oh, wow. Why is it so low?
I know. Not great. I mean,
these contest lines are weird. I feel like in Megabucks, it's at least 6.5 now.
No way.
No.
Yeah, I mean, look, you make good points about Miami, but I will not take Skylar Thompson, as part of our top 5. I'm not going with a backup, especially not him.
Yeah, I mean, so the history of them playing well in Seattle, it doesn't bother you at all?
Well, I'm not saying let's take Seattle. I think you make good points actually about taking Miami, but I can't do it with this backup.
So we'll skip the game.
Yeah, I'm passing.
Okay.
Lions Cardinals. Lions laying 2.5. This is an interesting game. Cardinals did great last week.
2.5 is such a wild, weird number. I mean, I love the over in this game. I think it's going to be a shootout type of game.
Every game, I think because Arizona's defense is not good.
Correct.
The Rams couldn't capitalize last week, but the Lions will be able to. And I think unlike last week, they'll actually get it into the end zone because this is a much worse defense than Tampa's. And it'll just again, the difference, I think they doubled the amount of yards that Tampa had last week. They couldn't get it in. I know it's one of those weeks. It was weird. There was a lot of weird stuff last week. I would think Detroit would bounce back here. I know Kyler looked really good last week, and Marvin Harrison, James Conner seems to score every week. The guy's unreal. But it's just, and I know Goff on the road, his splits are not great. Yeah. Goff's numbers on the road historically are not good, but this is a warm weather game. I get it's on grass, but I mean, they should be fine, Detroit, in this game with their offense. I agree. 2.5. I mean, I guess they could maybe Arizona could cover, but if I had to bet it, I'm laying less than a field goal with Detroit. I'm with you. I like Detroit in this game. I think we take advantage that it's an advantage that they just lost. It's an advantage that Arizona, it's value that they just lost. It's value because Arizona beat the Rams. And it's basically if the flip side happened on both of those games, we'd be laying 3.5 here.
Yeah.
And so I like Detroit.
I like them too. I think that's fine. I just, if we lose 29-28, so be it.
Yeah. Okay. 49ers Rams. This is a story of injuries.
So many. Debo and C-Mac.
Can't believe the Niners are laying 7.5 in this game.
Yeah, they own the Rams. I love the Niners here. This is an easy pick. The Niners own the Rams. They're 5-1 against the spread on the road against them, 5-1 straight up on the road against them. And the Rams are, so depleted and so injured. Cooper Kupp is out, Nakua is out. Their two best receivers, they're killed on defense. They're missing some people. I don't know how. San Francisco is a real team. San Francisco off a loss. I think this game's not close. This game's 31-10.
Wow.
I love San Fran here. I think it's an easy win. Easy win. Purdy's going to light him up.
Yeah, I'm not saying I like the Rams. I just, that number is uncomfortable to lay that on the road in a division game, despite all the injuries and everything. I know Kupp is out. So who's
Kupp and Nakua are out, but I just think Shanahan owns McVay.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to, especially off a loss. I don't see San Fran. I love them in a bounce back game. I think Kittle can have a big game. I think the running back kid's very good, Mason. He's fine. He'll get in. Ayuk's going to have a big game. So I just don't know how the Rams are going to score and keep up with them against, the Niners defense without their two best receivers. It's going to be very tough on them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they have problems on the offensive line, the Rams. I don't know how you got Bosa coming at you and Fred Warner. It's crazy. San Fran's going to be all over them.
Okay. I could maybe be talked into that. Let's see if we have 5. Chiefs Falcons is the last game in the afternoon.
What's the number?
3.5. Chiefs laying on the road.
What do we say about the Chiefs when they're laying? What was it? Less than 4 or more than 3? Is that what it is?
Yeah, more than 3. That's a lot on the road.
It is a lot on the road. Atlanta is coming off a Monday night game. Heroic win by Cousins. You got to give him credit. But I don't know. I think this game's KC. I just don't know if they'll cover. That's the whole issue. I think it's a hard game to bet. I could see a lot of points being scored. Kansas City's been really good against the spread in the last 8 games, 7-1.
Yeah.
And they almost lost last week. Listen, that pass interference call, to me, I know it looked like he got there early. Part of me on a different angle thought the kid jumped straight up and the receiver backed into him, but the refs just, that sucked. Cincinnati deserved that game in every way. So Kansas City, can be beat, and they're missing Pacheco, who I think is a huge part of their offense. So they got a young kid running back, and then they got Pirine. And Atlanta's feeling themselves a little, but it's tough off a Monday night on the road to come back and play. It's a really hard game. I'm going to skip the game. I think it's a high scoring, close game. If I had to bet it, I'd probably bet the Chiefs, but I don't have to bet it.
Okay, so you're passing. If I had to bet it, I would take Atlanta, but I also would like to pass. Jags Bills.
So great.
This is 5.5. Jacksonville just cannot get it together. I think this is a dangerous spot for them. And the way Buffalo played last week against Miami, they got to be feeling good about themselves. And I think this extra rest. They play on Thursday night.
They did.
They get 10 days. So I don't know. I like Buffalo in this game. Jacksonville was not impressive against Cleveland for me. So I
agree with you. I also think Buffalo is going to be great. I do. I'm with you on that 100%.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, I'm in.
Okay. Easy.
Perfect.
And then the final game is probably going to be my survivor pick if I can talk you into it. The Bengals are hosting Washington. The Bengals are 0-2. The Bengals are going to get their first win.
Yeah, I like it. I'm a high score, like 31-20 something. I like Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to be fairly effective, but Cincinnati's desperate for a win. Burrow looked better last week. They're at home. Washington's defense is not good. I know Dan Quinn is there, but they're just not good, and that problems have not been fixed. So 7.5.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. 7.5 is a lot, but I think they could probably win by 10. I think they definitely win the game. So I like the survivor idea. I would jump on it with you and do the survivor pick.
Okay, I'll put that down now.
And if we don't have 5, I would be talked into maybe doing it because I just do think that I don't know how Washington's going to stop them.
Right. Yeah, it's going to get – I don't know. I think since he played really well against the Chiefs, I was wrong about that game.
They sure did. They always do. Burrow always plays well against Mahomes. It's just amazing. And we said it on the podcast. I loved Cincinnati. I couldn't get you with me on it.
The ultimate motivation in this game is just them being 0-2. You cannot be 0-3 in this league. So I don't think there's any kind of a letdown. It's going to be a strong performance. It's national TV. It's like reminding everybody that that they can still contend. And I would say it's like if you're thinking about like betting on futures, like this would be the time to bet on Cincinnati futures.
I didn't like Cincinnati coming into this year. I'd always in the minority. I think they're a 9-8 team. I'm not impressed with their defense, and I think they've lost some pieces on the offensive line. But it is Joe Burrow. They are 0-2. They are at home, and they're playing an NFC doormat. They should absolutely destroy Washington by more than 7.5 points. I think it's a double-digit win. I think they feel good about themselves. So I'm in on the pick for Survivor. I'll take them minus the 7.5 with you too. The only other thing is I think we skipped a game that we didn't cover, which we should, which was the Baltimore-Dallas game.
Oh my gosh, you're right. And that's early, right?
Yeah. No, that's 4:00. That might be the game of the week.
Huh.
Baltimore-Dallas, both teams are 1-1. Baltimore's 0-2. Unbelievable. I think they're desperate here. And they're laying points on the road. I would take
one, right? 1.5.
Yeah, I think it's 1.5. I kind of like Baltimore here. I know Dallas has an unbelievable home record up until last week, but I can't imagine Baltimore for the life of me being 0-3. I'm sorry. I think they're better than Cincinnati. That's the team that I would bet the futures on here if you can get a discount. Not Cincinnati.
They're laying
1.5. Yeah, I like Baltimore a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think Dallas is a real team. I know they're good on offense, but I think their defense was exposed. Lamar's been really, really good. He just, hasn't gotten the wins. It's hard to explain, but I still think he's an MVP caliber quarterback.
All right. Well, I don't know if I agree with you there. I have such problems with him and them, and I'm always going to struggle to back them. Can
I give you some stats real quick? Some trends?
Yeah.
I only have 3. Baltimore 16-4 against the spread when it's less than 3. Baltimore's 15-5-2 against the spread when they're road dogs. But in this case, they were dogs, and I think it flipped, if I'm not mistaken. So that doesn't matter. And 4-0-1 to the over in the last 5 times they played. So to me, this is a high-scoring game. I could see Tucker at the end winning it for them. I don't see Baltimore losing. So I would take Baltimore in the over.
Okay. It's too close for me.
Okay. I agree.
It's too close. I 1.5 point line, and you're on the road, Dallas coming off an absolutely horrible.
Oh my God, they got embarrassed.
Yeah. So let's review this real quick.
Did you see online, by the way, a lot of Cowboy fans were throwing their jerseys into the fire?
No.
It was unbelievable. This one guy, he had 3 jerseys and he kept throwing. He's like, this in the fire. Prescott, fire. Hat, fire. He just kept throwing his shit in the fire. It was unbelievable. And then this other guy, this big black guy came out on his driveway. And the wife was yelling at him. He threw the TV on the driveway. And then he got in his truck, this huge pickup truck, and he rolled over the TV 3 times. Just smashed it. She's like, what's wrong with you? They're not happy in Dallas, I'll tell you that.
No, they're not. That's funny. Okay, we agree on New England. We agree on the Vikings.
Yes.
We agree on the Raiders.
Yes.
We agree on Detroit. Okay,
yes.
So that's 4, and we agree on Buffalo.
Yeah, and we could go back to the Colts too if we needed to.
Right, but we have 5.
Yeah, Jacksonville 0-2.
Yes.
Do you think they're a little desperate coming in? Is that too much wood to chop? It's my only concern. I know the Bills have looked good. I think they're a little hurt on defense, and I know that Jacksonville has weapons on offense. It's just eventually they're going to put it together.
They couldn't score.
They're going to put it together with Peterson, though. I don't know. I'd be more inclined to go.
Michelle, if Buffalo plays defense the way they did against Miami, it doesn't matter. They were just swarming to the ball. And
this is the thing with them, though.
Without Milano, none of it mattered. They just played unbelievable.
I agree, but this is the thing. Buffalo owns Miami. Josh Allen, that's a weird. They're in a weird mental state against them. This is a different animal. They're playing an AFC team in their building, laying big points on prime time. That's 0-2, fighting for their season. I'd rather take the Colts in the spot, honestly.
I agree with you. Actually, looking at just quarterback and just coaching, everything. I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah,
an Indy, but I think they end up coming out with the win.
I do too.
And then the other option would be that we take Cincy and just think that it's going to just be over at halftime. But I
think Washington can score. McLaurin and Robinson Jr. They have some weapons. Washington.
Right. The problem with that game is the line. You know what I mean? It's not I love Cincy as the survivor play, but yeah, they could easily be
just like what happened to us with the Texans.
Be up by. I mean, we've seen it. They could be up by 10 or 13 in the late game and just not even give a shit and
win by 6. And you win by 6 and you lose. Right. That's why I'd rather take the Colts. The Colts in a bounce back. I think they're going to win this game, and they'll win it by a field goal. Probably not much more than that. 3 or 4 points, maybe 7, but no more than that. I'd rather do that as our 5th pick.
Okay. So we're off Buffalo.
Give us our 5.
It's going to be New England, Indy, Minnesota, the Raiders, and, and Detroit.
And Detroit. Yep. Great. I love it.
And Survivor is going to be
Cincinnati on Survivor.
Okay. We got it.
Great job, dude.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Good luck. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, I'm in first place in Megabucks New York. Yours truly.
Oh, good for you.
Good start.
Nice.
I'm about 22%, about a 22% ahead right now.
Plenty of time to join. And we still got Darren Brown showed up this week with Skirt Steak and Sammy Dog.
Of course he did.
Guess who else showed up?
Cappy?
I don't care, and Black John. So people are coming in. We're still open for several more weeks. And yeah, the leagues are picking up steam, but I think even Megabucks Philly is still open. Megabucks South obviously still open. So there's still time to join all these leagues.
Yeah, New York we'll get up to 50 players in New York. I think at least 40. I know there's always stragglers. You know.
Yeah, people know that it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Correct.
But all right, everybody. Good luck with your picks. Hopefully, we can turn it around this week and get into a winning record. And yeah, wantomakeabet.com.
Got to stay away from those half-point losses in our. Those 2 half-point losses have been a huge difference for our picks.
Brutal.
All
All right, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
Good luck, guys. Bye-bye.